Ashwini, how are you?
Hi Srikanth, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How has your weekend been so far?
Weekend has been interesting and exhausting so far. I was sitting on call throughout the day yesterday because I was part of the ICF conclave. I was watching the sessions that was there yesterday, and then had a coaching practice session in the evening. Yeah, so the day was filled only with calls.
Okay. So this is the conclave where Dharmaraj from Chennai had done some
Yeah,
corporate connect.
yeah.
In fact, when I look at your face, that usual freshness is not there. Your eyes are looking quite tired today,
I have not
unusually.
had enough sleep because I'm also doing the Yoga Nidra classes with Krishna. So I woke up at 5. I slept
Okay.
at 12 and woke up at 5 plus travel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm
have
able to
my
see
sleep
that.
deficit on.
Absolutely. I feel that. I feel that. So Ashwini, we have about 25 minutes or maybe a couple of minutes extra for our conversation today. Um, so when I ask questions, if you feel very uncomfortable responding, just raise your hand. I will let you know. Sorry, I'll know that you are uncomfortable. In the meantime, if I feel that this conversation is going off track for whatever reason, I will raise my hand and interrupt and bring the conversation to track. Yeah. In the time that we have together, what would you like to explore?
I've been trying to work on something and I've seen a pattern in me. Uh, the pattern I've seen is I feel that I'm not seen and heard enough for who I am. And day in and out, people whom I don't feel very connected with, or my first circle could be my friends or family. Um, I feel the urge to explain myself, and somehow in my head, I feel if I explain, I'll be understood. But that's not how reality works. And I've learned to silence myself where I feel the other person is not in a place to understand. Then I've learned myself to just drop it there. I do drop it from an external point of view. I drop it. I don't say more, and I know I'm not understood. But internally, I don't have that acceptance that it's okay, and that stays. That's a conflict that stays in my mind, and I'm not settled with it, and I don't want to be in that space. I want to feel settled. So this is something that I'd like to explore and understand how I can move out of this space and feel settled while I parallelly bring in a change. There are quite a few examples that keep happening.
Ashwini, I heard the word pattern. I'm not being understood by other people who I am, how much ever I explain to them. And I want to feel settled. And what makes you say this is a pattern?
One is the moments that I identify. I've had this habit of explaining myself too much on text or on word. The person wouldn't have asked so much, but I would have gone more details, probably oversharing. I call it as oversharing or explaining too much because I can sense that the other person feels this is not something that I asked for. Why did you have to say so much, or why are you getting triggered? Why I wouldn't have expressed emotions. It's just explanation. But the reactions from the other side would tell me that they felt it was too much for them to take. They felt it was unnecessary for them to hear something. And that gave me a signal that probably it's not relevant for them, and I am sharing it for my reason and not for their reason. And when I started trying to reflect, why am I, if it's my reason, then why am I doing it for myself? I know it already. Why am I doing it with another person? That's when this came up.
I'm hearing for the other person, it is irrelevant. And you're doing it for yourself. This phrase of I want to feel settled, what does that mean, Ashwini?
It's been a while since the last, I would say, 5 years, 6 years. I've been trying to build my life experiences in such a way I feel effortless living life. There could be challenges. I could have a hard time, but while I make choices, how do I, how effortless do I feel, and how rested do I feel in my choices? I want to feel rested in my choices, and then the experience can pan out. Challenges can come. I want to bring in that effortlessness space, which will enhance my living experience. That's where it's coming from. And I've been able to largely bring in a lot of change. There's a long way to go. And I keep identifying areas where uh, I don't feel rested, and that means that's a point that I need to work on, because my larger goal is to feel effortless with everything.
What will give you this sense that now I am settled?
The very thought that I don't question myself if I'm settled or not. If I'm settled, then there's no question that comes up. It's just a very smooth experience, and I keep moving. And there are, with certain, in certain contexts, I have experienced that effortlessness. Hence, I'm able to say that I will know when it's effortless. I will know. But in certain contexts, I've still not been able to bring that in. Say, very recently, with my mother last week, there's something. So, parents coming from a different generation, the kind of perspective, understanding, beliefs that they hold with God and religion is very different from what I hold it as. I do not identify myself from a space of fear. And for me, the definition of God, even the word God doesn't settle well with me. I believe in a higher force, something above me. So my way of saying is different, evidently. Do I have faith? Yes, I definitely do have a lot of faith, but just not in the way they hold it. And of course, like any parent, they keep saying, I'm 32 and I'm not married, I'm doing my own things, which is very unruly to them. They keep saying, this is the reason why your life is not in a certain path. We should go to this temple, that temple. And I do support it at sometimes, but when it's not working out with my plans, I say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do this. Then that goes into a very emotional, dramatic path. And then last week, I happened to say that I do not uh, identify myself with idol worshipping the way you do. And hence, something I said, I didn't deny her experience. I wanted to talk about my experience. But she has this way of uh, overpowering me, saying, this was in text messages, and somehow this overpowering happened, saying, it's your age that's making you speak. You will realize at one point in time. She vocalizes this in as much depth as possible, and that's a space where I paused. I chose to drop it. I did not respond to it. While internally I was struggling with that conflict, I know where she's coming from. I can also call her wrong. I may understand a million things going forward in life. The learning happens over a period of time in life, but I was pretty sure that the learning she is expecting me to have is not what I'm going to have. I'm going to have a learning in a different curve. I felt the urge to over explain myself there, but I dropped it. I didn't do it. Till date, it's been a week. Till date, I've not done it, and I'm not going back into it. And I know at some point in time, in case I reach a point where I talk about something in the lines of what she wants, and she will relate it saying, I told you at that point in time. And in the future moment, I will also, again, I'll have a conflict saying, no, it is still not the same. So these are the kind of conflicts that happen in my head. And this is just an example of one context, a recent example. I've reached a point of bringing myself up to dropping it, not taking it forward, which is a change that I'm bringing in positively, but the internal conflict stays. And that's the space where I feel I'm not seen and heard. I feel there's no attempt to even ask me, okay, what is your belief? What is your understanding of faith or God? Why do you feel you don't resort to my way of experiencing things? When there's no room for conversation, I choose to drop it for my own peace.
So I heard this example of one different view between you and your mother about divine power and God and ideal worship and so on and so forth. I also kept hearing this about conflicts. So what I'm sensing is, I'm going to play this to see what you're sensing. If you don't have conflicts with the outside world, there is no reason to explain anything of what you're doing. You continue to do things effortlessly the way that you want to do and lead a life the way that you want to lead according to your plans. You will feel settled. This is my sense.
So the sense is mostly right, but the conflict part is not external. I feel that's just a trigger. It's more an internal conflict. Nobody's asking me to explain. Uh, but because of an internal conflict, see, when I dropped it there with my mother, the conversation ended. She moved on. I did not move on. And I'm going to carry this into the relationship that I'm having. It does impact. So I am not moving on from that point, which is an internal conflict, I feel. I can't do anything about the external conflict. That's not in my hands.
So, what do you feel is causing this internal conflict within you?
Again, it's not feeling seen and heard, not the space where I understand everybody has differences. Can I be heard for what I am? And can I just let be? I let you be. I am not questioning why are you going to a temple. I don't impose my belief on you. I don't try to talk to somebody saying, no, I don't agree with you. You should change your ways. I don't tell them. If I feel they should change, then that's an internal point I take and reflect. Why am I feeling? They are doing something. Why am I feeling like? So that's an internal process for me. So when somebody else is not doing that for me, I feel stuck. If nothing comes to me, nobody asks me anything, then there's no context of wanting to be seen at all. But when the context of not being seen comes in, that's when I start thinking about it. And in a closer circle, it inevitably comes on and off. We like it or not, it keeps coming up. And also the kind of journey I've had is a very simple way of trying to explore the life, which is not the typical path which most of them take. This is nothing rocket science, no fancy thing that I'm doing. I'm simply going back to trying to stay grounded and explore myself and the world and learn along the way. I'm letting the learning happen. I'm not willing to take what is told to me. I am willing to take what comes to me as a learning. So in this path, there is a lot of difference that happens between how I choose to be and how others choose to be, and that creates a lot more instances where it puts me into a state of internal conflict.
This word conflict, Ashwini, what is the meaning that you are giving to it right now in your life?
Conflict to me right now means I choose to live a certain way and I have a purpose there. I have my own buy-in there that yes, it is in the right direction, it is in the fair direction. I'm settled into that. At the same time, while growing up, I'm conditioned with a lot of things, which is conflicting with these choices. These choices are very new, and the conditioning is coming into the. This is how I see it. Conditioning comes into place, saying this is not how I was taught to live, and I'm making a choice to live differently. That's the conflict, and that. But I still want to do it my way, and I keep going my way in a parallel track. So the conflict, of course, it dims out over a period of time, but I don't think I've reached that point of it completely vanishing. It definitely has lightened over years. And I take it in a way where this is how life is. When you're choosing things differently, this is how life is. And I can't avoid the conflict is something that I've settled into. So hence I allow the conflict to be, but proactively I'm trying to see how I can work on it to make it a enhanced, sorry, effortless living experience so that I'm fully rested into how I want to be.
What I'm hearing is I have chosen a way of living and I'm in a path to get to that place of whatever it is. And there is the past, which is a life that I have lived through some conditioning. And there seems to be a conflict between the two. So we've been speaking for about 15 minutes so far, Ashwini. What has been most useful for you in this conversation so far?
I'm not able to point it out, but I think the exploration, there's a lot of light thrown into where is this coming from and what does this mean to me, reiterating certain awareness that I already had. Also reiterating that it is okay for the conflict to be and for me to just keep moving on. There's no need to assess it if it is right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's every choice has a certain consequence, and as long as I'm ready to go through it, then I should just keep going. The discomforts that I have, all I can do is just try to keep working on it. When it has to vanish, it will vanish. Until then, it will stay. So that's something that's coming out for me now.
So there's been a lot of light thrown, and there seemed to be some awareness. We have about 10 minutes or so. In the remaining 10 minutes, what is that you would like to specifically focus and take away from this session, which will give you a feeling that you had a meaningful conversation?
At this point, I feel I don't know if we'll be able to do that in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I want to feel effortless. That's a process. I'm also okay to allow the process to be with discomforts. Why am I focusing on that? constant work to be done to let go of that discomfort or that conflict. On one side, I'm also saying that I'm okay to just allow it to be because that's how life is. On the other side, I'm also still constantly trying to put my focus on it, saying, no, this is a conflict. I need to focus on it.
I'm hearing two things. Yeah, there will be conflicts. Life has to go on. The other thing is, hey, why am I having these conflicts? If you want to very specifically look at this information that you shared, what is that you would like to focus and take away?
The second thing that you mentioned is beyond that, what I said was, why am I, say for this conversation, why did I bring this as a point to work on? I'm doing that in general also. That is taking away more of my energy, I feel, rather than building that effortlessness. So why am I I identified a conflict. Identification is fine. Can I not just leave it there with mere identification? Why am I trying to put constant energy into working on it? I feel I have to do something to remove the conflict. Maybe it will remove on its own with the process that I'm on.
What I'm hearing is when I identify a conflict, I want to work on it. Why am I working on it? Why am I putting so much of energy without allowing it to just be there? If you're able to find the answer for this question, Ashwini, how is your life going to change?
It will probably feel like I don't see myself as a project in this life. And I will just be in the present, just living. And whatever I identify. I do not want to. I've learned largely to be in the present. Now I can be in the present, but living in the present is another whole different thing. It probably will just bring that effortlessness just like that if I let go of this.
Being in the present versus living in the present. And I had to say, I know I'm being in the present, but I want to live in the present. And if you're able to do that, how would you feel?
I'll know when I get there. I don't know. I've not lived it, so I don't know. It looks like something that I already want. The goal of effortlessness. Maybe it'll feel like that.
In the beginning of the conversation, I heard you use a phrase, who am I? If you have to ask that question right now to yourself, Ashwini, what answers are coming for you?
One is authentic. I have chosen to be authentic and I continue choosing to be that. Effortlessness that I already mentioned in every part of me. Just being, I feel that's the want that I have and who I am right now also. Somebody who wants to do simple things and something that intrigues me or picks my attention, I put my focus on it. I am somebody who holds a lot of space for myself and for others. Yeah. At this point in time, this is who I am. I used to be a different person in the past. I may be somebody else in the future, but this is who I am, and I want to be in this space for a while because I've not experienced this in the past. And this feels a lot more nicer, more effortless compared to the past. And it's like that. Probably it's the greed that I have where I didn't have this all those while in the past, and then the last few years I've had this, and I put a lot of effort to reach where I am, and I just want to float here for a while.
Authentic, effortless, keeping things simple. Who do you want to be for others around you?
I want to be a mirror for them because I know a lot of people around are the two categories of people: one who feel they're not enough, and the others who feel enough. For others who feel enough, I don't want to be a mirror, but I just want to be there walking along. For somebody who feels they're not enough, I want to be a mirror where they see themselves and know what they want to do about it, or if they want to do anything about it at all or not.
So with all of this information that you shared in the last couple of minutes, Ashwini, if you want to go from a place of, I know I'm being present, to, I want to keep living in the present, what are certain things that you feel that we should focus on so that we can start making progress towards that stage, not maybe now, um, and now and maybe going forward in future sessions?
There could be a lot of actions, but if I just sum it up, there's only one thing that I have to focus on is dropping, I don't know what to call it, dropping the expectation that I have for myself that I should be a certain way to feel, to be accepted or to be seen. And
Have to drop. Go ahead,
by
sorry.
dropping, there's also another comfort that I have to build in where there are differences, I let the difference be. Today I'm not comfortable with it. I need to build more comfort with it. These are two things that would take me where I feel.
We got just about a minute. We can park this conversation right now. I know this may need a deeper exploration. We are going to meet on Wednesday in my office. We can go a little deeper, maybe for a longer time. For today, Ashwini, if you have to summarize this entire conversation for yourself with a key learning, how would you like to do it?
I don't know if I want to summarize, but I'll just say there has been a lot of exploration. I'll come. There's a lot of exploration that has happened, and I do not want to summarize at this point in time, but I would only say that these are kind of conversations I don't have otherwise. And I always look forward for this because I am somebody who dives deeper within my own self. Except the time that I'm sleeping, I don't know, probably I'm doing this in sleep also. I'm constantly seeing myself as a project, not by choice, but that's how I've become as a person. And I constantly keep reflecting on a lot of things in a lot more depth, every minute things, wherever there's a possibility, that whatever comes to me in my vision. And I've always wanted a supporting hand or a system that I can lean on to explore these things, not for somebody to give me a solution. I'm not looking for answers, but a support system that I can lean on to just explore. That's something that I got in this conversation, which is of great value for me, I feel. I want to leave it there, but I don't think I want to summarize it.
I really appreciate that you made yourself so vulnerable among few other people, and I wish you all the best in this journey of exploration, Ashwini, and I'm really looking forward to having one more conversation with you when you're at my office on Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you, Srikanth.